Okay, next question is from Easy Peasy Lemon Potato.
That's not how that saying goes.
That's what it says. Okay, it says, some say renting is better financially than buying a home. Is this true?
Man, so this is a really interesting question. And I've taken some heat on the answer to this, right? Because I am of the opinion, we used to have this idea that everyone needs to buy a home, everyone needs to be a homeowner. Everyone needs to buy a home, everyone needs to be a homeowner. I personally do not believe that. I think that homeownership is wonderful. And I think that there are amazing benefits. And I think that it can be a huge resource in your financial journey if it plays out that way. But I don't think everyone should buy a home simply for the sake of buying a home. And I do think that there are benefits to being a renter, the number one of which is flexibility. If you're someone who maybe your job is uncertain or your relationship status is uncertain, meaning you think you might be getting married in the near future, or your family is uncertain, you're thinking you might be having children, it might not make sense to marry yourself literally to a piece of real estate that you're going to be locked into for the next 30 years, or at a minimum, if you're following our rules, the next 7 to 10. Because if you don't have that level of certainty, I think it's okay to be a renter. Because while a lot of people think you may be throwing money away in rent, I would make the argument you are actually buying yourself flexibility through that rental payment. It's an insurance policy you're buying to give yourself options. I am not of the opinion that you always have to buy versus have to rent. And I think the answer to the actual question, again, comes down to it depends on your very unique and specific situation.
Well, look, it's part of the American dream to own a house, but there are some weird distortions in real estate marketplaces. A lot of my content team knows, sitting over there at Team Crash, because when you have interest rates, now I know that I hear that there's a chance that because interest rates, there's starting to be a little pressure on them, that we could even potentially get below 7%. But right now, a lot of the research is showing that it's better to rent than to own. So because we're in this unique moment in time with high interest rates, it's more important than ever that you go check out our free resource. Go to moneyguy.com/resources. We have a checklist, a home buying checklist, because what's really the key thing is how long is your time horizon? Because we always used to talk about that housing's a 5-year and a minimum decision. I would think with interest rates this high, you better lean heavily on the 7 to 10 years, because that time is going to moderate the fluctuations and the weirdness of what's going on currently. The other thing I want to tell you is that we just had some data. We're working on our net worth by age show, and there's data. It's all over the internet right now because the brand new information has been released by our federal government. And I'm sad to say that, unfortunately, the most Americans, their net worth is tied into the equity of their house, meaning that if they didn't buy a house, they had no money.
Any wealth, yeah.
Because it was the appreciation of the house that actually created their wealth, which saddens me, because I know that it's back to my financial mutant mindset that when I heard from Mr. Morrow, my economics teacher in high school while I was working at Hardee's, that $100 a month would make me a millionaire, that lit a fire in my brain. And I'm sad that it sounds like for a lot of Americans, they're not doing the financial mutant move of letting their money work as hard as they can and working for them through their army of dollar bills. They're going the route of, if they had not bought the house, that one incremental decision, they wouldn't have saved anything for the future. And I'm telling you, so easy peasy, lemon potato. I think it's more of, in this moment in time, it's probably better to rent. But the bigger takeaway for me after seeing some of this net worth data that's coming out about Americans is you need to make the decision today that you're going to build wealth. And I don't care how that comes. Yeah, a portion of it might be in this house that you buy at some point in the future, but no matter what's going on in the housing market, you're going to go open up a Roth IRA. You're going to go start saving for the future and try to get 20-25% of your gross income working for you. So you're not part of that horrible stat that comes out that shows that Americans are broke as a joke. And that's the big thing. So, but I think go do our checklist. Go through to really lean heavy into how long can you make this decision, because I will say, like, we have And I'm doing everything I can to make sure it's a long answer for some reason.
Well, because I have something to add to it as soon as you're done.
But I think about, because I bullied you out of an apartment when y'all had your first child, because I was like, you need to have a house. But then I think about like Katie now she has a house, she broke it, but we have a house that I couldn't believe that the whole office let go back, because we had a homeowner that had moved out of the area. They didn't want to sell the house. They were just looking for good people in a great neighborhood, and they were renting this house
It was
below
an amazing
market.
solution.
You could raise a family in that house, no problem.
Absolutely.
And you had really good landlords. But I think that's why this needs to be very customized and tied to know thyself and your personality. But don't let it be. It doesn't have to be an either or. It has to be, what are the scenarios and what are the things going on in the marketplace right now. Maximize how those things play out.
Yeah, I think it's so great. You had talked about the economic impacts, right? Housing prices have increased, interest rates have gone up. I would also argue that the decision of is it optimal to rent or buy also changes with your unique season in life. It's not uncommon. We will have clients that have reached financial independence. They decided they want to move to a different part of the country to be warmer or closer to grandkids or whatever. They may sell their house in their current location, and they may decide, hey, I'm going to go rent for a year, 2 years, 3 years to figure out the lay of the land, to figure out where we might want to buy a house. I would argue in that situation, renting 100% is better than buying a house. So even the decision of which one is optimal will change based on your season in life. Don't think that you have to make a decision just because the rest of the world around you is telling you that that's the decision that you ought to make.